I need to turn on the light. There we go. That looks slightly better. And also for the record, this video is completely unscripted, so I'm gonna have times where I stumble over my words. But hey, that's okay. That's how unscripted videos are supposed to go, right? Hey guys, Justin here. So rather than this being a regular video for me, I decided to do a collection video, which is something that I haven't done on my channel before, but hey, always time for something new. Video home system, or VHS for short. If you have been born before, let's say, 2004, then you definitely have some recollection of this happening within your life, one way or another. The format was first released in Japan back in 1976, and then it came to the United States 1 year later. It was one of the very first home video formats that really took off, and that helped to implement its usage between homes, schools, and movie studios who were just releasing things onto this new format. Productions for commercial videotapes stopped somewhere around 2006 to 2008, and Japan ceased all production on new videotapes back in 2016. But there's still a very dedicated community who likes this sort of stuff. And how do I know that? I searched it up on Wikipedia. So today what I'm gonna do is show you a collection of all the VHS tapes that I have within my presence that I have been able to preserve for the past 19 years that I've been alive. Well, I know when I was a baby I really couldn't do much. All I could do was just... There's actually a little video of me when I chewed on a videotape when I was younger, and it's really funny, and I'm gonna show that to you right now. Okay, on with the video. So, in no particular order, I'm just gonna show you all of the videotapes that I have within my presence. So, let's start. The first one that I have to show you is Titanic, directed by James Cameron, which came out back in 1997. So, this package of videotapes was collected from my grandma's house back in 2013, and I haven't watched Titanic before that, and I watched Titanic for the very first time on these exact VHS tapes back in 2013, which then subsequently got me obsessed with watching Titanic several other times. So, with any movie that is over 2.5 hours long, it was separated onto 2 tapes. So, on cassette 1, it contains the first, oh no, it just only says 194 minutes. On the first cassette tape, it contained the first half of the movie right up until the captain of the Titanic is informed that it's gonna sink. And then cassette number 2 starts off when Rose and Calvin are in their room. And that's where this one starts off. So both of them have the same exact design on them, apart from obviously the number 1 and 2 that's contained on the tape itself. And then both of these cassettes combined together makes for this sophisticated packaging that I'm trying my best not to damage. Voila. So, there's that one. Aha. The next ones up in my collection, I will go by the times that they were released, are the 1989 Wizard of Oz VHS. So this was released for the Wizard of Oz's 50th anniversary back in 1989, and it also had a special promotion with the Downey bathroom supplies company. I actually only got this recently, as of like 2 years ago, because I didn't actually have this within my presence. But of course it's The Wizard of Oz, so nothing's really changed about it, other than the fact that the label for this has kind of rotted. Speaking of The Wizard of Oz, yeah, I just mentioned that before. But speaking of which, I also have this other VHS tape that was released in 1996. This is the one that I grew up watching in conjunction with the DVD that was released a few years later in 1999. The label for this one has actually remained intact though, keeping most of it actually, except for this little scuff right here. I don't know if that's... I'm going to not damage that. So the next two tapes I have are Blue's Clues, Blue's Birthday, which I actually only, you could say, watched this recently. There was a lot of gunk on here, and I actually put it through my VCR, which is actually over on the other side of my room, and it cleaned up the tape fairly well, and who knows, maybe I might watch it again. And then there's also Blue's Clues, Blue's Big Holiday, which I actually did watch this very recently, and it actually still holds up. Next is My Fair Lady, which is the first VHS set that I purchased by myself back in 2016, which ironically coincided with when my high school was doing a production of it that same year. So yeah, both VHS tapes have the same type of design on here. And this was actually my introduction to Audrey Hepburn and all of her subsequent movies like Breakfast at Tiffany's, My Fair Lady. Yeah, that's all I can think about right now. No classic video set is complete without Shrek. I got this about a year or two ago. I haven't actually watched this tape in its entirety, and for purposes of selling videotapes, they came in packaging that was normally larger than the tape itself. See, there's this little cardboard crease that helps make the packaging look a little larger than it actually was, which helps people to be like, oh look, it's larger, maybe it's a much larger tape or something, which I can't say from experience that I know that's happened to someone, but hey, it could happen. Next is Mulan. I've had this tape forever and I haven't even watched it, but I have actually watched the original movie, which I gotta say was pretty entertaining. Mulan tape, and then a little Mulan sticker that was written probably by one of my parents, because honestly I didn't have this nice handwriting back when this tape was used. Also with the same sort of packaging design as the Shrek, but the same type of design as the Shrek VHS cover is Elvis On Tour. There it is right there. And the label for it is upside down, which I find kind of odd. And it gives you all little bits of information about who the musicians were that were on part of Elvis's crew. This was actually performed in 1972, I think, right before the rest of Elvis's career started going downhill. All right. Another one that I've had for a while now is The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is another classic Disney title. The packaging on this one is a little flimsier than I'd like. This was probably printed a couple of years before they stopped producing tapes entirely. Funny enough, the last Disney movie that was released on VHS was Cars back in 2006, but it technically wasn't released until 2007 because it was an exclusive with the Disney Movie Club and you could only get it by mail order. Well, transitioning from that now is this Grease VHS tape, which I've actually had since I was born, because I remember distinctly seeing this VHS tape in the bottom portion of my parents', because I actually remember this being on the bottom portion of my parents' car, and I was like, ooh, what is this movie? And I had no idea what it was until I actually watched it back in 2014. Doesn't seem that long ago, but it's starting to get to that point. Another one that I have is a collection of recordings of SpongeBob SquarePants when it was on TV. Not much to talk about that. Oh yeah, that's also another interesting fact. So, with blank VHS tapes, you could record stuff that was on television for later viewing on a VHS tape, and then you also had a recording of it that you can watch as many times as you like without fear of copyright infringement. I mean, of course, if you were to pirating that show off one VHS tape to another, then that would be bad. Alright, another one is this Planet of the Apes VHS tape, which I have had for so many years as well. Not much to talk about this one, but I like how the packaging is configured. And it's also got the same type of design that most of the CBS Fox tapes have contained for all those years. This other one, which I have gotten recently, is the Simpsons Christmas Special, which only contains the very first episode of The Simpsons, which was released back in 1989. As you can see, the tape heads are much smaller than a regular full-length tape would be. The next one that I have is Rugrats in Paris, the movie, which was released back in 2000. There's also really not much I can talk about this one. It has the same type of orange covering that most of the other Nickelodeon VHS tapes of this time had. And it also has writing of Rugrats in Paris, the movie, from whoever was the previous owner of this tape. Another one that I also have is this George Michael Faith VHS tape, which, if I can get this out, I'm gonna need a lot of faith to get this tape out. Oh man, it's really in there. Oh, forget this, I can't get this out. The interesting thing about this tape is that it has a little sticker on the side saying it's only for promotional use, and it's under ownership by CBS and can't be sold anywhere else. But since VHS tapes haven't been used for years, somebody sold this, and now it's landed up in my hands. I'm not responsible though, so if anyone is going to contact CBS about this, please don't tell them. This other one that I have... Oh, before I get into that, I also have another tape in my collection that's not for retail use, but has ended up in my collection one way or another. So this one is also another cassette of SpongeBob SquarePants recordings off of TV. I gotta go back on the tapes to see what's included in this specifically. The next one that I have here is Beauty and the Beast, which has actually been in my family's possession for almost 20 years now. Which contains the whole movie, of course, and has that giant plastic packaging that most Disney VHS tapes of this time had. Which I can see why they did it, to make the Disney tapes look much nicer and bigger when they're on the shelf. So, for example, if you had it like on a shelf here and then you had someone walking by and you'd be like, ooh, a Disney movie. Oh, yes. Speaking of Disney, that brings us to our last tape. And if you remember me saying a few minutes ago of how I have another tape in my collection that wasn't actually for retail use, which is this Bud VHS tape, which I have gotten off of eBay recently. And here it's a demo tape, which wasn't actually considered for retail use. It was only for preview inside video stores. So this would be playing on in the background while people are shopping. And of course, I got this through eBay, and no one really uses VHS tapes anymore, so this has landed up in my possession. Nothing really seems to be too visually striking about this one either. It just says, not for sale or rental. And when you're actually watching the movie, it has a little blurb down at the bottom saying, this is not for retail use. If you have a copy of that, if you have a copy that has this warning on it, please call this number. All calls are confidential. So, that is the end of all the VHS tapes that I have in my collection at this very moment. So, even as the format itself starts to degrade in quality, I will do everything I can to preserve these videos and subsequent videos that I receive in the future for future use and preserve them in their original quality so they can be viewed for generations to come. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.